broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Bounce.
I'm yelling, Empire's over. Dynasty.
What up? You are tuned into AFTERBUZZ TV for Empire Season 2, Episode 3, titled Fires of Heaven. I am your host, Bamm Ericson, and I would like to introduce the panel.
Sofia. Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Kennelia. What?
And it's Emile Ennis Jr.
Okay, I hate to keep putting you on the spot, but Emile, your outfits and your wardrobe every week, you are killing the game.
Just trying to
and I love how you ladies are rocking the sleeve, the showing the arms.
Well, we just trying to show the guns. Emile, show the guns.
It's weak today.
Show the guns.
Oh God! Sorry.
Sorry. Show.
Okay, so the family dinner. Eat, drink, be merry. For tomorrow we war. What are your thoughts? Just open discussion. What did you guys think about the family dinner?
I think our engineer in the booth thinks we're in a club.
Yeah.
And we still going.
DJ Zach Morris.
Kill the music.
Family dinner. Eat, drink, be merry. For tomorrow we war. What do you guys think about that? The family dinner.
Well, at least he told them the plan. You know, that was nice of him. Thanks, Lucious. And obviously, that's what you would expect from Lucious. That's what he does. You do something to him, he retaliates. He kind of tells you he's going to retaliate. And once he retaliates, he calls you over, he laughs at you, and then he sends you on your way. So, that was like, oh, thanks for telling me, Dad. Great.
At least he gave them a in. Like, he was trying to invite them in. We all know his motives aren't always pure, but he tried to give them a chance to get back in Empire in this little Lions Dynasty thing. Jamal is still sucking up and think his dad is, at least in the beginning episode, God, and that he's perfect. I'm getting a little bit sick of Andre begging. Like, I need him to figure that out. And Cookie was amazing as always, and Hakeem just still doesn't give up.
I'm gonna go backwards forward. I actually don't even know why Andre and Rhonda were there, truth be told, because obviously as we see progress in the episode, he's part of the plan. He would have never come back, or he would have only come back as a package deal, meaning Lucius really only wanted Cookie and Hakeem. So that's one part where it's like, Andre, like, you're not even really in the family. However, not only did I like it, I felt like it was very medieval. Right? No, it was very medieval. It's like back in the day, that's literally what they used to do. They used to like pick a time period, pick a battleground, and beforehand, sometimes they would like sit down and they would eat together, and then they would like go their separate ways, meet up on the battlefield, and kill each other. So on some levels, there was something very civilized about what Lucius did, but because it was Lucius, that made me very uneasy. Because to me, whenever he is actually calm and logical and basically is like, yeah, we're family, so we're gonna break bed, but tomorrow I'm finna to kill you, that made me scared.
I was also a little fearful because all of the one-liners he kept dropping. He said, my ex-wife, my ex-CFO, my ex-son who wants to be a rap star working with my ex-wannabe girl with some of my ex-artists. He was not playing games in last night's episode. Okay, so question for you. Boo Boo Kitty, is she Team Lucius and playing Cookie, or is she Team Cookie and she's truly out to hurt Lucius?
I think she's Team Boo Boo Kitty.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
I think she's Team Boo Boo Kitty, and whatever she needs to do to make sure that she ends up okay, she's gonna do it. She genuinely seemed hurt. Like, when she met up with Lucius at the club, she seemed like she was really upset about what went down, how it went down, and the fact that they're in this place now. Because even though Lucius is Lucius, Boo Boo Kitty was in for Lucius. She was down for him. That was her dude. That was her man. And then Cookie showed up, and everything kind of went to smithereens. So she's genuinely hurt by it. So I believe her when she said to Cookie, I really need to hurt him. Don't ask me about it, but just know that I need to hurt him. And within that, I don't think she can be team anybody else, because Cookie still has, even though her and Lucious has their, they have a beef or whatnot. Cookie's still gonna low key kind of look out for Lucious
because they're still family.
Because they're still family. So Boo Boo Kitty has no choice but to be on her own.
I agree with that.
I think that she's going to play both sides. I think she's more Team Lucious. And the reason that I think that is because, well, number one, I thought it was interesting that Cookie actually called her by her real name for the first time. She called her Anika. And Boo Boo Kitty was actually pleasantly surprised that she referred to her by her name, which I think threw Boo Boo Kitty off. But the reason that I think that Boo Boo Kitty is a little more Team Lucious, and I'm not really sure if she really wants to hurt him, only because of how Lucious responded when, later on we'll discuss when they were in the club. Lucious was not surprised by the actions of Cookie, Hakeem, and them at the club. He seemed like he expected it, like it was coming. And so I wonder, because when Boo Boo Kitty and Lucious had the conversation actually never finished. It stopped in the middle, and then it went to the dramatic music, and then it left us with the impression of what side she's going to take.
I see where you're going with that, and I was under the same impression watching the episode. I didn't know, even when she came to Lion Dynasty and she talked to Cookie, I didn't know necessarily if she was still playing with, or siding with Lucious and playing Cookie or not. And I think that's we're still going to find out, because it's not concluded yet. Because just because she helped her by telling her where the location of his party was and all that stuff and what she could do, she could still be playing. But I think it still goes back to she's just in it for herself, and I think she will continue to flop back and forth, especially now that we see, and she said that she's not really into Hakeem, and Hakeem is doing her over all the time. So she really has no ties or loyalty to Lucious's side or to Cookie's side. And once again, it's just all about Boo Boo Kitty.
Okay. Fair enough. At the party where the Cookie and the Lion Dynasty crashed, something that I thought was interesting was, I'm sorry, Raven-Symoné's girlfriend. What's the character's name?
Chicken.
Chicken. She, Cookie told her to do something with the music. So I'm under the impression that she stole the music from the DJ.
No. This is what it is. This is like a little music legal moment. So remember how basically theoretically Hakeem was still under contract, right? Mm-hmm. And the reason why they were able to do what they did is because physically they still had the masters. Mm-hmm. So I'm not sure if the song that he performed was arguably part of his album, but basically what they played the music on was the master. So what she was saying is, when we leave, you need to physically take the master, or else they will own it. Does that make sense? Meaning all the time and energy you put into mixing and producing and making sure the track is radio ready, that theoretically is the thing that you want to own, right? Because that's where you can make other duplicate copies. Otherwise, it's almost like a bastardized copy, and you can hear the difference in the sound quality. So even that's why, all the way through Motown, when people were like, I don't own my masters. And that's why now this new era of artists, despite the fact that if you have a producer, you always make sure that you pay up front and that you own the master. Because if you don't own the master, you really don't own anything.
And Cookie brought it up right before that when Anika went to meet with her. She said, Boo Boo Kitty said, Lucious wants all of your music. And then Cookie said, oh yeah, I know what that is. That's when you take all the music, you change a couple of the notes, and you flip it, and then I can't really do anything about it. So let's say Chicken didn't get the music off the laptop. Lucious could have changed the chords or changed one chord, flipped it, put it out, and then it's no longer Hakeem's song. So she had to get everything.
Totally changes my theory, because I thought that they were, I thought that the DJ, a lot of times in parties like that, they're playing music of the label. At the party, they're playing all the music.
Oh, you thought that Chicken was actually stealing music from them. I understand what you're saying.
Because Cookie mentioned the whole Jack of the Trade, so I thought that she was trying to get, no, it's okay.
Yeah. Let's back up also 2 seconds. And I think a lot of people felt this way. I don't know about everyone else, but we definitely live tweet when the show's going on. When Pitbull came out, I was like, that's a cameo. Like, it felt so authentic. It felt so real. It felt as if he was actually performing. The chemistry, the artistic chemistry between Pitbull and Jamal seemed real. You know what I mean? And so I think that just made it that much better to really think to yourself, okay, here's Lucious is really throwing a party for himself. He's geeked off of Jamal. Jamal is a chosen son. And then it's like, bam, lights out, literally and figuratively. And to me, the way that Hakeem came into the room, came onto the stage with all of that security and so forth and so on, I think that he definitively dropped the mic in a way that I was surprised to see, but I was extremely happy to see, because I think that it's showing a multitude of things. One, that he's maturing as an artist. Like, he's always been good as a rapper, but I definitely feel like he's really getting in pocket. And then I think he's also growing as a man. And to me, and I mentioned this last episode, it is the difference between street and corporate. So even though both performances were great, even in terms of the colors, both Pitbull and Jamal were wearing white. Even though it was a great performance, it was very corporate. Versus the way Hakeem came out, he literally had a hoodie on, he had all black security, and had more of a street feel to it. And even the way that he was rapping, the way that he was battling directly to his father, felt like an actual cipher. I loved it.
I did too, and I actually didn't really care for the Pitbull Jamal song.
I like the song.
I like the song, but it's very Pitbull. It's really no different from
But it works.
the song.
That Pitbull
I like his beats.
method works.
I like his beats, but ever since he's become mainstream, it's all very similar. Even the song, you can compare that song to the song with Pitbull and Neo. It was just
that song jamming. Though.
It does jam. I'm not saying I don't like it. I'm just saying that I thought the song was just okay.
Well, I'll touch on something quickly in regards to what Sofia said about Real and the cameo. And I think that's what a lot of people complain about regarding the celebrity cameos, is they haven't felt authentic. Mm-hmm. The reason that I fell in love with the show season 1 is, even though it is a primetime soap, you are easily able to put yourself in this fantasy world and it feels authentic. So even with Cookie's character, we have to talk about the scene really quick from the dinner table where she pulled the thing off the table. Mm-hmm. That felt authentic to her character, and that's something that a normal person you saw, that wouldn't happen. But for Cookie, that seems realistic. Only Cookie can wear that gold top that she wore in the club.
The hair
was everything.
It was Mad Max. It was Tina Turner,
everything.
Right? It was Tina Turner from Mad Max.
And the beats that they were playing for Cookie's entrance. Do you guys remember C Murder? I'm down for my.
Yeah.
And that it was basically that beat. Basically, I took it as a message as she's down for her son, and now I'm about to introduce you to him. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was
said.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. When I crash a venue, I own it. So now Lucious always gets the upper hand, and which is why I thought that. He knew something in regards to the club. When it gets down to the very end of the scene, he took over the radio stations. He owns all of the 200.
Oh, we're at the end?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to that, but we're gonna go.
Oh,
See, and it's funny for me. For the reason that you just brought up is to me exactly why he did not see the performance coming. Like, definitively, after that performance, it was Lions Dynasty 1, Empire 0. Like, they demolished him, because it's one thing that in season 1, when at various times either Jamal or Hakeem were subtly and or inadvertently talking about their father. To me, the fact that news has hit the streets that basically Empire has now been split in two, Empire and Lions Dynasty, and that people have picked camps. What Hakeem did was publicly basically whip his you-know-what out and basically pissed all over Lucious. Lucious, even when the lights went out, was unaware, and that's why Lucious had to retaliate in the way that he did. If Lucious knew it was coming, there would be no fire for which Lucious to have to then come back so hard.
Yeah, because I think even I said first episode, I thought that maybe Lions Dynasty had a chance, but not really. Knowing who's behind it and knowing that Lucious has been in jail all these months, and his interactions with Hakeem and his reports back from Jamal saying that we can't get Hakeem to finish the album, we can't get Hakeem to do this, why would he think that with just Cookie and Hakeem and a couple of off artists that they would possibly succeed? But after seeing that performance, then he had to do something.
Okay, let's now dive more into the story. Let's talk about Cookie and Hakeem. Do you guys think that Cookie is giving Hakeem too much control? as far as producing the artists, the girl group? Do you think she's allowing him too much control and fear that she may lose him because he's the top artist?
I don't think it's fear that she'll lose him. I'll say two things. One, as a mother, I think she's finally realizing that she has to let her youngest grow.
Okay.
I think with Hakeem, he does have a lot of lessons that he needs to learn, but the problem is he's not going to learn that until he's experienced it. So with him, just like how he was late to the interview, how he wanted to sleep with, or he did sleep with the lead singer of his girl group, he lets them walk all over him, but he says that he's in control. It's just a lot of things that he has to learn as a young man that he is finally learning. But if she being Cookie, keeps being overbearing and trying to control everything, he's never going to learn it. So he has to fail by himself. Actually, that's all I'll say that.
I agree.
Okay.
I also said too that last episode I said, I don't know if Cookie and this Lion Dynasty thing is going to work because of Cookie, and just like you said, Emile, after the performance I kind of flipped what I thought. Mainly not even because of Cookie, but because of Hakeem. When Hakeem showed up, I was like, oh, see, there we have it. Even though he's young and he kind of does his own thing and he sees what he wants to be further down the line and thinks that's going to happen right now, Hakeem is the person who is going to push Cookie to want to continue to do what she has to do. So I flip-flopped.
Anything else about Lucious versus Jamal before we move on to the next brother?
I'm just ready for them to. I'm ready for Lucious to pretty much tell Jamal, "You're not my priority." Like, say it.
I'm sorry.
Say it the way that.
I meant Hakeem. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, Hakeem.
Let me know when you're ready to go to Jamal. Because he get on my nerves.
Anything? Okay. Jamal, you were saying?
We kind of all said that when Lucious gets out of jail, Jamal's going to take the backseat. Jamal seems to be the only person who doesn't know this. He seems to continuously like when Lucious said Frida is the next best thing, she means everything musically to me, and Jamal was like really shocked and stunned, like
He was all emotional.
yeah, like I can't believe he said that. What do you mean? You weren't his top priority when he was out the first time.
Wait, Sophia, what do you mean?
Justin Bieber, he was super Justin Bieber about the situation. So I'm kind of I'm over Jamal in this whole, but dad, pay attention, and dad, I want to work with you in the studio, and dad, like, just, I'm just done with it. I'm sorry.
Well, I like how, and I keep saying this, when Gabby is in the episode, she finally has a voice. And I like how she's speaking up, because she called him out and she said, you've had the top producers who worked with all, she listed all the artists that they worked with. And she said, this one's too tall, this one's too short, this one's too this one's too that. And then she said, you really just want Cookie. I wish that Jamal would still have a backbone, because it was that moment when he was about to walk into Ghetto Ass Studio, and then Lucious rolls the window down, and instead of, it wasn't even like, let me go inside and show my dad that she's still my mom, I can work with her, and I can still be on your label and produce top music for you. But instead he's like, gets in the car, locks the door, how did you find me? You know, like,
my problem with Jamal is I think that Jamal is trying to focus on being a superstar versus focusing on the craft. Because it's two different things. He's worried about being a superstar. He's worried about producers and all these people that he can and cannot work with. And then he even has the nerve to say that I'm way past these producers. Negro, you got one album out. You only have one album out, and now you think that because you've been parading around like you Lucious Jr, that you all of a sudden a fucking superstar and you only have one album? He needs to focus on the craft, because the craft is what got him to where he was, the music, his drive. He doesn't have the drive anymore.
I hear what you're saying, but I have to disagree with you. And
Okay.
I think that he's actually extremely about his art. And again, I don't have a musical background, but what I do know of music, a producer can make or break you, right? Because it's actually that, it's like you're in an intimate relationship. Everyone who has to do with your song or your album, you are in an intimate relationship with, and you are, in essence, exposing a part of your soul, and you want to do that in the most authentic way possible to who you are and what you want to say, right? If you're with a producer who doesn't vibe with you, I don't care, like, if they literally are one of the best, you're not going to vibe because there's not going to be energy, there's not going to be synergy. I feel like that's what he's feeling. He's feeling that arguably 18 hours of his day are spent being the CEO at Empire, and the tiny little time he has left, he's dealing with producers who possibly are actually on that star level. So they're actually not humble enough and grimy enough to get to his sound, given the fact that he's still a new artist. Because think about it, he's very what's the word, like almost empathetic or osmosis. Last season, every single one of his songs came from situational life, right? So he needs to be in that moment, to be in that artist groove in order to create. And part of the way that you do that is when a producer is bouncing ideas off of you, even sometimes like the way that they do the rhythm, does it make sense? Allows you to go, okay, yeah, that's what I'm feeling. I'm gonna go in pocket now. If you don't have that, you're literally gonna be stuck. And I think that's where he's at. He's stuck because he's not actually gelling with any producers, as well as the fact that he's so pent up because he's really not meant to be a CEO.
Yeah, and well, I get what you're saying, but the only thing that I would counter with that is before Jamal became this big star, he was producing his own stuff, and the stuff that he produced is what made him would connect to the world.
Well, he needs to take his butt back on to that alley that he was in when he made that you can keep your money song.
Mm-hmm. You can keep your money. Yeah. I agree. I'm on the fence with both of you guys. I'm literally in between because on the one hand, I do agree with Bamm in regards to him focusing on the fame, but at the same time, it does tie exactly what Sofia is saying. Just because him becoming CEO, I think, was the worst decision for his career. Mm-hmm. And just to make a real life example, not that this person became a CEO, but do you guys remember when, and this is just not because he's gay, it's just the only one I can think of, I love Frank Ocean.
Oh, yeah.
But Frank Ocean had albums before Jamal, which is one example of you talking about he only has one album. Frank Ocean had albums before Jamal, but he really became mainstream when he, the Think About You album was it Channel Orange?
Channel Orange.
And he came out as bisexual. He was on the MTV Video, all that stuff. I think the reason why not only him becoming CEO was a negative impact for his career, one, because he has the CEO conflicting. So when he does work with these producers, let's just say if he wasn't the CEO, even if producers weren't grimy like Sofia is saying, you have enough time where eventually you get a rhythm. He's just trying to fit these producers into this tiny pocket of time that it's like when we do interviews, or like I do an interview on the red carpet, and they say you have 1 minute to interview this person, ask them one question.
Yeah.
I can't get into a flow with you, so I feel like it's like that. Also, though, he missed his opportunity because when you're on a wave, you have to ride out that wave, especially when you're a new artist and you have a new album. He shouldn't have gone straight into, and I know it's not his fault, he was chosen, but he shouldn't have gone straight into being CEO. He wasn't able to actually ride that wave and like do the press that he needs to do so he can keep that momentum going.
Do performances.
Yeah, and it's just like, what do we talk about? Even when you want something in life and you aren't there yet, you still have to take the steps to keep you in the flow of it. So instead of him focusing on the artist side, he's just focused on the CEO side, and so his artist side is failing, and that's why he's ultimately failing with his music.
So then, question. Do you think by Lucious wanting him to be Lil Baby Jr. Lucious, do you think he's setting him up to fail because he was originally Cookie's protege?
The reason that I'm going to say a definitive no, Lucious only cares about Lucious. He chose Jamal because at the time, Jamal was the only person he thought could basically keep things around and alive and profitable until he got back.
Okay.
So I almost think that he hasn't even thought that far in advance to potentially, get back at Cookie via Jamal or to get back at Jamal. He really is kind of like, no, I run things. I've always run things. This has always been about me. So therefore, if he helps me get to that end goal, I'm going to use him. And when I no longer need him, I'll throw him away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that. Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think about his threat toward that little Frida girl who I do not like?
The threat? What threat?
I feel Jamal is clearly threatened by Frida. Threatened by Frida because he heard Lucious say that basically she's everything is his priority.
Can we back up for that scene?
Yeah.
Can we actually talk about that scene for a minute?
Yeah.
I thought it was great because it's like they were literally sitting on opposite sides of the table. I think if every aspect of Jamal's body language showed that Jamal did not want to be there. Like Jamal was like on the phone earlier, he was like, some random hood girl with all of her thugs came in this place saying blah, 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 blah. And then like a child, just like Emile said, he sat down and kind of was like, whatever, I don't even know what I'm doing. Here, sign these contracts. I feel like what we're seeing is we're actually seeing Jamal regress because he's actually not evolving and he actually is regressing. So season 1, he actually was in a better position than he is season 2, despite the fact that now he has an album and he's a CEO. And so he's starting to act like a petulant child because he no longer has what he wants. And in a weird way, that's very Lucious-like. They're both extremely emotional, and when they don't get what they want, they kind of act out. They act out in different ways.
But that's very artist-like. Not necessarily Lucious or Jamal, but when you're an artist, you get a manager, you get an agent, anything that is supposed to work for you, a company, you have a problem when they're working for other people because you're like, I am the talent. I know what I need. I know what I want. I want to do X, Y, and Z. Where are you right now to help me? I don't care about no damn Frida. Mm-hmm. It's not even, I think at that level, yes, it was about Lucious because Lucious is kind of just thrown into the back burner, and after he said that she means the world to me musically, that kind of stung him. But take Lucious out of it, I think if somebody else would have did something similar, Jamal would have did the same thing. Any artist would.
I think, go ahead.
And I think it's only because there's a conflict of interest. Because he's not solely wearing the CEO hat. I think if he was solely wearing the CEO hat, ironically, if it was Andre, there wouldn't be this power play because I'm not thinking about myself. As he's across the table talking to this girl, all he's thinking is, I haven't been in the studio. Where's my album? I haven't been touring. I haven't been doing that. Then immediately once the girl leaves and he's talking to his father and his father says she's everything to me, again, it's purely from the artist's perspective. So it's almost like you can't do both. Like your internal self-interest isn't going to allow you to sign someone who could be better than you.
And quiet as kept, if you go back to the last couple episodes, anytime that he was acting as the head person in charge, he never wants to be bothered, whether if it was the dude, Miss Derek in the hills.
Housewife?
Oh, Miss Lawrence.
Miss Lawrence.
Mm-hmm.
When he went to see Mrs. Lawrence, he didn't want to be bothered. Anytime that there's actual work as the head, he always comes off that way. So,
well, and I think it's a combination because it's not always that he doesn't want to be bothered. It's just he literally can't handle his task load like a real CEO. Yeah. And the problem is he doesn't understand too, as a CEO of a company. And I don't want to say it's because there are some asshole CEOs, but as a CEO of a company, being that he was appointed and he is Lucious Lyon's son, he has to realize that people are still looking to Lucious as the CEO, and he hasn't even gained that respect, but he treats everybody like minions, as opposed to treating them not as equals, but at least giving them the level of respect they deserve. Lucious has the background, he had the career to talk to people a certain way. Jamal doesn't have that. He doesn't even have the background to be CEO, so why should he be getting the respect? That makes sense?
I know what you're saying. It's basically because Lucious, in theory, his entire life has been a leader.
Yeah.
And it's just been moving up the food chain, versus Jamal theoretically was an artist and not necessarily leader. No aspect of who he is has been groomed to be the one in charge. I love legal stuff, especially I really need to make sure to mention this because I know that there are probably a lot of artists or soon to be artists either listening or watching our show. When Jamal basically pushed the contract and said sign it, and one of Frida's dudes looked at it and said, I don't even understand what these words are. I need every single artist to know you never, ever, ever sign an agreement without looking at it. If someone hands you a contract and tells you to sign it in that moment and doesn't allow you time for you to look over it or for you to get legal counsel to look over it, that means they're shady and they're trying to you over, okay? One. Number two, when you sign, there is a paragraph, I guarantee you that's going to be in there, that said you gave up your right or you acknowledge that you read, understood, and had legal counsel read it, and therefore you are acknowledging consent to everything in that contract. So again, artists, anyone signing a contract, but specifically musical artists, I really want to make sure that you protect your brand and your product. Always read a contract. Always get a lawyer who specializes in music to look over it and to advise you accordingly.
And you can make that checkout payable to Sofia Stanley. The last thing, good move, bad move. Lucious wanting to produce Jamal's album?
Last resort. That's what I say. Just because Lucious is the same way as Jamal in terms of, or Lucious just the same way in general with his life. Just like he did bought the radio station after he saw the potential of Hakeem. He sees Jamal is starting to wane over to Lyons Dynasty, specifically the Cookie, but he doesn't necessarily know why he was going to Lyons Dynasty. So he is just getting nervous. And before that actually happens, he's like, oh, let me reel my son back in. Will he actually produce his stuff? I don't know. Is it just one of those things where he just pacifies him like, okay, Kennelia, yeah, I'll do your makeup tonight. And you never do it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I don't know if he's actually going to follow through with it. But once again, I think Jamal needs to get a backbone because I'm just sick of him falling into the trap. Even and just back up really quick to In the Kitchen where they were talking about the Frida thing. When he was talking to him and Jamal did stand up for himself, once his father said one thing, then it was like, oh yeah, okay. Like it's never, he just needs to be fully realized. And I feel like he was more into or more of a Jamal and more grown and full and into himself last season. And like Sofia said, he's regressed this season. It's just sad. Like he's just sad.
I'm not sad.
I can't.
I'm not sad. But speaking of sad, now we have to go to Andre. So Andre advises Lucious to buy Apex. Lucious does it, and he still denies the boy.
Well,
Just open floor.
I'm to the point where I don't understand why Andre is still doing this. You're not getting back into Empire, and he told you this before. So why would you lead in with the business proposition that Lucious can take and it can have no benefit to you? Why would you lead in with something that valuable to a man who doesn't even want you around at his company? That was my thing. I was like, so you just gonna give him the goods? You're going to show him your ace and just say, here, Dad, yay, take me back now. Even though Lucious time and time again has said, I'm really not fooling with you. It's really weird how mesmerized by their father that they all still are. They've seen him do bad things. They've seen him do good things. They've been around him with just him when Cookie was in prison. But for them, time and time again, to be kind of like starstruck, but in a father sense, I just don't understand it. I really don't get it.
I can't pinpoint what you just said, but something you just said triggered something in my head. You know, in The Godfather, what was the other son's name? The one that he ended up having to kill. Was it Fredo? In Godfather? Okay, anyways, it's kind of a typical story, right? Where whenever you think that you should be the one by birthright, but not by personality or character. Let's quickly look at Jamal and both Hakeem. Both Jamal and Hakeem go balls out. Right? They take what they want. They don't ask, they just do. And that's something theoretically which is mirroring their father. Their father will do whatever they need to do. So Jamal basically was hungry and basically ended up sliding into the position of CEO of Empire. Hakeem basically definitively attempted to do a hostile takeover. Theoretically, Andre just goes with the flow. Andre wasn't the one who kind of initiated and stepped into it. That's number one. Number two, he failed. Number three, when he's sitting at the table with his father, think of how this situation would have gone differently if he said what he said and his dad goes, oh, and he goes, yeah, so I already contacted an angel investor, I already got a venture capitalist, and I bought them. Now I'm sitting in front of you and you just told me no, and I'm gonna dead all your artists. Radio silence. That theoretically could have actually enticed Lucious and made him respect him. Because the problem is he really is middle management. He's not a leader. Mm-hmm. He doesn't go balls out. So yes, just like everyone's saying, he's still like, love me, love me, love me. But no, your dad. Your dad loves power. So don't tell him the idea. Take it from him and dangle it. And Lucious will, at minimum, respect you. I know they keep trying to do the storyline that Lucious can't connect with his son because of his mental illness and obviously the mental illness of Lucious's mom. But I really think the underlying aspect is he views him as weak. And he views them as weak because neither Jamal or Hakeem would ask for anything. They would simply take it. And his very act of asking makes Lucious loathe him.
I think he is weak right now. And it was even when... So Lucious is one of those people where even though he is very manipulative, he can see very clearly. So even in the moment where, remember he told Cookie that he was having the baby, and then Cookie said, oh, you should tell your father that. Like, Lucious isn't going to see through that. The problem is, and I'm trying to give Andre a little bit of a leeway here, just because he's dealing with the conscience of killing Vernon. He's dealing with the fact that his wife is pregnant. So with all that weighing on him, and the fact that if we're going to think about his situation before, he was high up in Empire. He had a stable-ish career, even though we know it's never really stable there. We had a stable-ish career. To go from that to all of a sudden being with Lyon's Dynasty, and that's so iffy right now. And like I think in those moments when he's talking to Cookie, where he says, the reason why I'm trying to get back to Empire is literally for the legacy of my family.
Bullshit. I think that he said that Empire is where my heart is. That's where it's at. I don't think that. I think he was saying that more so he was dropping hints to Cookie to let him know that they were having a baby.
I didn't take it that way, and I didn't take it that way just because if it was another son, maybe, but this was a son who was with his father, like singing along, creating songs when he was younger. He's seen it from the ground up. He's the oldest son, and he's like the one person who we can truly say has been there from the very beginning and has seen like Empire like actually grow. Mm-hmm. So he has a weird investment into it that nobody else, none of the other sons, not even Cookie has, just because in terms of since Empire was started, yes, Cookie built the foundation, but Cookie wasn't actually there when it started. Arguably, he was there since the very, very beginning. So that's why I think this whole release from his father and denial all the time is taken so hard, because he really just feels shunned for no reason when he should be the person that Lucious should trust the most, should give the most power to.
But you know what? Sometimes in life you don't get what you want. Because he went to business school and he is the person that he is and that he was taught to be as far as education. Let's say you wanted a job at Goldman, and Goldman didn't want you. You're not going to keep going back to Goldman saying, please, I really want to work at Goldman. Please, let me work at Goldman. No. You will go to Barclays, you will go to another investment bank, and you will bust your ass there. You will build your desk up. You will do what you got to do. And then later, you will let Goldman come back to you.
Or you go out and you steal their clients, or you get clients. A great analogy.
That's what I don't understand. Like, Andre, stop.
Because he's middle management. I think that's the problem. Like, if you really think about it, and that's even what his dad said at the table. He literally was like, yo, I could hire any MBA from Wharton who does what you do. Mm-hmm. You're actually not bringing anything exceptional to the table. Even in the standpoint that when he doubled back to Cookie, he should have been the first one to be like, yo, let me buy all these radio stations. Let me direct Hakeem with this girl group. Like, you know what I mean? Let me set up some meetings with Univision. Let me set up to do with Telemundo. Like, let me do something to actually build a legacy for myself. If he's waiting to build a legacy on something that he does not have 100% control over, that's asinine, because you don't have control over it.
On another note, dealing with Andre.
Actually, you know what?
What?
I want to hear from our fans. So the way that you do that is you go and you check out our podcast on iTunes. So you go on iTunes and you type in AFTERBUZZ TV Empire, and all of our podcasts will come up. And you can leave us a comment. So you can tell us how you feel, if you think that Andre is weak or Andre always gets the short end of the stick. Let us know if you're Team Cookie or Team Lucious, Lyon's Dynasty, or Empire. And always tell a friend about our podcast. So again, you rate, comment, subscribe, 5 stars, please, and leave a comment. We really read them. We read every single one of them. So if you hear something verbatim, it's because we read it and we're reading your comment.
And
go ahead.
I was going to say, if you need a little extra,
shot of conversation,
just a little extra,
okay,
you need to go to iTunes and search for Happy Hour with any of our names, or Happy Hour, Shot of Conversation. It's a podcast that we do every week. We talk about everything. What we talk about this week?
Baby mama drama. Victor Cruz and his
Cosmopolitan covered The First Family. Some textbook drama with the slavery. Anyway, it's good. So you're going to want to listen. So go to iTunes, search for Happy Hour. Real good. And make sure you leave a comment, subscribe, so we know you're listening.
All right. Question. So Andre is having a boy. How many months is Rhonda? She's not showing.
I think he just said that to say it.
And some people just don't show. I mean,
Yeah. No, I honestly,
and is
really
Rhonda really pregnant?
Oh.
So we'll get there anyway.
That'll be a twist, cause
But they were at the doctor with the ultrasound. But I'm just saying.
shoot, he could have been sitting outside though. You never know.
Okay, Sophia.
Sure.
Is it possible for Lucious to be released but barred from being on the Empire premises?
It's so funny because I was actually thinking the same thing, and the preview for the next episode actually gave it away. Okay, I'm gonna give you the very short answer. One answer is yes. Literally, to be released, you can put any condition you want on someone.
Okay.
Period. I mean, that's just like the short version. To speak out of the opposite side of my mouth, no, because him being arrested for murder has no direct correlation to Empire. So it would be different if he was being charged with insider trading or fraud or something to do with the genesis or the business, the day-to-day operations of Empire, right? However, again, sorry if this is a spoiler alert, but the preview for next week, when it shows that the feds are about to raid them, feds, that's a civil matter. Well, when I mean civil, I mean more like financial, the stocks, or basically, and I'm making a prediction, it's basically the genesis of the company was started with drug money. So that's what they're going to go after. So that's why they were able to tie that to his release.
Gotcha.
But yes, I think they missed a loop there, but it will make sense next episode.
Now, going into Lucious versus Mrs. Ford, so she's building this campaign, obviously around Lucious. But my question is, she mentioned Vernon about how he was some way far away. Does she know something that we don't know? Because Vernon's dead.
No, her client disappeared.
She's trying to she's trying to call her bluff badly.
Yeah.
Because even Lucious said it, like, you wouldn't be here if you had a case. And that's the thing. And this is, I think, what everyone arguably does, with the exception of Lucious. Lucious does this too, but Lucious does it so much better than anyone else. You never tell someone what you're about to do until you do it. If you say, oh, I'm finna to beat your ass, I'm not scared. If you clock me dead in my face, well, now I'm on the ground, so I'm scared, right? That's literally what she was doing. She basically came to basically be like, I'm gonna F you up, I'm gonna F you up. Well, then it's like, yo, I'm scared. Not. Versus waiting until you get into trial and then slamming you. So to me, again, the fact that she was like always far away, then it's like, yeah, then why are you here? Because you're trying to intimidate me because you know you have a weak case. She's just weak all around. I can't stand her.
I can't either. In the fact that
offline.
Yeah, and the fact that she's she's driving around in the hood, following Lucious around. Like, what kind of lawyer is she? I don't.
When and if they sleep together, I will definitively.
Lucious better not tap that.
No.
He's trying.
Yeah.
It is a
covered
nighttime
up this
soap opera.
episode,
She was, but I
anyways.
think Lucious is going to maybe trap her into thinking that he's going to smash and then be like, "Bitch, I got you."
No, he's gonna screw her first. He's the devil. Does that make sense? It makes more sense. He would actually boink her and then do it. He's not gonna not do it and be like, "Oh, I got you." He's gonna boink her so that I can be like, "I boinked you." See how I'm getting better at not cursing?
Yeah.
Maybe they'll have a menage a trois.
With who? With Purple Suit?
Yeah.
Okay. Bubbles, Ricky Mama, and Terrence Howard.
Oh my God.
I can't.
Lucious and the little girl Frida. So he goes to the hood and he saves her. He saves her. They were battle rapping. The guy in his battle rap referenced something about her dad.
Her dad being dead.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah. I don't like her, and I hope she dies.
Wait a minute, Dad. Wait a minute.
And I'll explain why I don't like her.
Come trying to kill somebody. Why don't you like her?
Listen, if you are in the streets and you are battle rapping or doing whatever you're doing, you can't. I have a very low tolerance for people who want to pull out a gun because you can't handle the challenge of a battle rap. I don't care. I don't care if she's a little girl. I don't care if she's a little girl or whatever. But listen, go ahead.
No, that's irrelevant. She didn't know her dad was dead. You're telling me that you're in the middle of a battle, right? A battle is similar to sports, or even like, not combat is being too extreme, but you revved up. Do you know what I mean? Like your adrenaline is charged because theoretically it's war. It's a war of words, but it is war. In the middle of that war, yeah, people can say things about your baby mama or how they're trying to make you suck their you know what. That's one thing. To learn in the middle of that your dad basically got like snuffed out in jail.
But did she not know that?
No, she completely didn't know that at all.
But how do we know?
Yeah.
Because to me, the way she reacted, like she literally stopped, and you saw that moment where she basically kind of was like, oh, that was wrong. But then the way she looked at him, she was like, wait, he's telling the truth. And that's why she reacted like that. So yes, I agree with you in terms of the cipher, you don't pull a gun, but I feel like that was purely an emotional response to finding that out, and the way he hurled that at her was an assault.
I took it
as that she knew, because think about the level of street dude that he is. Once a street dude at that level dies, everybody knows. Everybody in prison that knew him, it's getting out.
Okay.
Phone, we hitting on the phone. Everybody with the hidden burners, cell phone. You in your cell. Everybody knows. I took it as she was like, damn, like. She was just hurt about it.
Okay.
Yeah,
and she pulled a gun out. She got too emotional. And
yeah, I took it as in the battle. Not saying that anything's off limits, but her dad dying is so fresh. You would think that somebody, even in the hood, would have a certain level of respect for Frank Gathers, her father. So that's where I took it. So not only did he talk about him dying, but he called him Stank Gathers. So it's just a lot for her to handle in that moment.
Well, can we real quick talk about Lucious being in the hood? Like, Lucious, at some point, buddy, you gotta step away. I see him going to see where she is. Like, oh, hey, girl, come down to the office. But when they pulled the gun out, Lucious right in the heat of the battle. Boy, bye. Yeah. Get in the car.
And he's still trying to pursue her? No.
Lucious, get in that car.
Kennelia, drop us with cold piece of the week really quick before we wrap.
Cold piece of the week for Empire Season 2, Episode 3 goes to Lucious's old punk ass for being an asshole. I don't really even have to explain. Lucious is an asshole. He was an asshole for him hugging Andre at the house, putting his head right on Andre's forehead and dropping that evil knowledge on him like he did. He's an asshole for calling everybody to dinner and saying what he said to them. And he's just an asshole because he's an asshole. Oh, sorry, cold piece it goes to me for using asshole a gazillion times. And cold piece it also goes to Cookie Lyon for channeling Miss Debbie Allen during dance rehearsals when she was getting Mirage a Trois prepped and ready to go for their performance.
Absolutely.
Shout out to her.
Fame. You want fame.
Exactly. Let us know who you think Cold Piece and Cold Piece it should be. Hit us up on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook using hashtag Cold Piece.
And predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Mine, the first one isn't really a prediction, it's a want. I don't want Frida dead. I think she's super talented. You can kill Valentina, though.
Oh my gosh, yes. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm interrupting. Go ahead.
And now for my predictions. I think that Cookie's determination and constant battle and fight to succeed is going to prove to be very efficient for Lyon's Dynasty, even though Lucious keeps trying, because even though Lucious has the corporate power behind him and he has the street behind him, there's still something about Cookie where, how do I describe it? Like, for me, when all odds are against me, it just motivates me even more. If you keep handing challenges towards me, it makes me want to fight harder. So Lucious maybe think that he's making it harder for her, but I think that this is actually going to motivate Cookie and the whole team behind her, because you saw she has a whole team in her office now. Mm-hmm. Cookie and the whole team behind her to just take it to the next level. And if they thought this was play before, now it's like, okay, now we're for real. Let's make this happen.
I agree. My prediction goes along with Emile. Cookie said at dinner in the beginning, she said to Lucious, "You got me twisted, OG. I'm always gonna eat, not with you." So I think Cookie is in the right mindset, and I'm going to tag along. I don't necessarily think Valentina should get killed, but I think her Rod Digger hands when she be singing should get got, because
I thought the same thing too.
Girl, is this Rod
She's
Digger?
Rod Digger, yeah.
Okay. That's my prediction.
Again, ditto what Emile and Kennelia said. And then I'm just going to piggyback on my own prediction I said earlier that I think that Empire will potentially not survive because it was funded by drug money. However, Lyon's dynasty theoretically is clean. So I think that ironically, eventually, Lucious is going to have to come to them in order to actually save the legacy of the quote-unquote empire.
That's a good one, Sophia.
Great. In the previews, it shows that Cookie's being arrested. And with the whole feds thing, it just made me think because she funded the money is probably why she's being arrested. But something that Lucious doesn't realize in 21st century, you don't need radio in order to have a successful album. You have 1,300 followers on Twitter. You send a tweet, mixtape, Drake, Future, mixtape is out, #1 on iTunes. So, who cares about the radio? Hakeem's
Radio's
hot.
dead.
Yeah. But we're not dead because we'll be back next week. So let everyone know where you could be found on social media and we can wrap up.
For me, you can find me at, sorry, I was checking the live chat down here. You can find me at Emile Ennis Jr. on all social media and Chasing LA on YouTube.
You can find me at Kennelia on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And don't forget to hit us up on iTunes. Look for Happy Hour. Search by Kennelia, Emile, or Sophia for an extra shot of conversation.
At happyhour_TV. And you can find me at Sofia Stanley, Twitter and Facebook, at the Sofia Stanley on Instagram.
And you can find me on our social media. And thank you guys for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV for Empire Season 2, Episode 3. We will see you guys next week. Thank you for watching. Whoop, whoop.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.